The Rogue is one of the most played classes in Dungeonborne, with a near 20% selection rate, whereas most classes sit around 12 to 14%. But maybe it's your first time playing and you're struggling to really get the class off the ground. In this video today, I'm going to break down the active and passive abilities of the class, talk about easy ways to gear up, and then close the video out with some gameplay where I discuss how I approach solo gameplay. Throughout the video, I'll be discussing options for team play as well, but one of the biggest strengths of this class is a high survivability in both PvP and PvE, in solo gameplay, of course, hence the high selection rate. And it's also like a super high extraction rate. It's at 52%, with the Druid being above that at 54%. To put it in perspective, the closest one below that is Swordmaster at 51%. So either way, if this is your first time on my channel, the way I do things is by upfronting the knowledge of my videos. So with that being said, the priority order for your passive skills that I like to choose is 62 Dexterity, followed by 29 Strength, the final 93 Dexterity passive, finishing off the strength passives before grabbing the stamina one last. You don't really need to worry about the latter ones because they're going to require good gear to get, but the first two are quick and easy to get and unlock. Also, I'm not the absolute best rogue in the world, so don't expect top tier gameplay. What I'll be talking about are rules to approaching the class versus concrete ways to play. This is a video game, play your way and enjoy it. If you die miserably, then tweak some things and go from there. But you'll get just as discouraged min-maxing the class than you will enjoying the journey, because ultimately you have to become a better player to be better at the game, not use a shortcut with some sort of build or whatever you saw online. So if that's all you wanted to know, then please feel free to just simply shut the video down and get back to backstabbing everything you see in Dungeonborne. Before you head out, if this video did indeed help you, then please don't forget to comment, like, or subscribe. Each one of those things helps me out a ton. Also, you can find the rest of my Dungeonborne videos linked at the end, as well as a link to my Twitch in the description below, where I stream Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Let's get started here on my rogue guide to solo and team play in Dungeonborne. Loading into the game, let's talk about our rogue passives and active abilities. Now, I've gone ahead and re-rolled a rogue character at level 3, so it's a little bit easier to talk about this if you're just brand new to the game, rather than just seeing, hey, here's a jacked character, level 20, has increased passive stats, all sorts of stuff. And as you well know, or if you didn't at least, every time you get a level, you're going to get one, if not multiple, stat increases. It'll just be 1 point here and there. So at level 20, it's easier to get your passives unlocked than it is at level 1. So to start us off, let's talk about the progression for your passives, and let's talk about your active skill choices for rogue. So in a solo scenario, what I really like to use is Vanish. The big reason I like Vanish more than Concealment is that Vanish lasts for 15 seconds. And you can basically queue this up by channeling it. So you press left click, it takes 3 seconds to channel, and after those 3 seconds, Vanish is ready to cast. So what you do is you walk up to a escape portal, things are relatively clear around you, you go ahead and press Vanish, crouch down and start using that escape portal. This allows you to get the escape portal out, because it takes like 13 seconds to activate a escape portal, and then you can just walk in and you're totally good to go. That's why I like Vanish over Swift Concealment. Swift Concealment is good, but I think with Swift Concealment works better when you're playing with a team. So if you're doing team play, use Swift Concealment, because basically it's the same amount of recast, right? But you're cloaked immediately, and then it's 6 seconds. So you're not cloaked for as long. I don't know, I keep saying cloaked. Stealth for as long. You're not a Romulan. But it does help you in a single player scenario to get access to escape portals, get around the map a little bit easier, move through things a little bit more fluidly. Whereas if you're playing with team fighting, it makes a lot of sense that you want to just jump into stealth as fast as you can to get those crits on board. Now, our other is our Q ability. I like Petrifying Poison 9 times out of 10. The reason here is that it petrifies and locks something down so that it cannot attack or do anything. In a team fight, this is great to be able to lock something down. You can basically create a 2 versus 3 or 1 versus 2 scenario in a team fight. But in solo, I like it even more because I can chain my capabilities together. Sneak up on something, backstab it, Petrifying Poison, wait a little bit, go back into stealth, whatever the situation is. Petrifying Poison gives you a lot of breathing room in a single player scenario. And that's not just with PvP. Even using it in a PvE scenario, you can jump up to a creature, backstab it, kill it, then maybe there's another one in that room with you and it aggroed. You use Petrifying Poison to lock that one down, and then you move behind it and go ahead and start doing your backstabs. Now keep in mind though, Petrifying Poison, when you start to do damage towards something, the first bit of damage is completely neutralized, right? Reduces incoming damage by 100%. This effect is removed when the target is attacked. So you just basically have to keep slamming backstab if you're behind them, and the first one's not going to go through, but that second and third one will go through, and if it's a monster, it'll probably be enough to kill them. Now, your other capability is Quick Blades, and why I like the poison over the Quick Blades is that the poison gives me just so much more control over the battlefield. Quick Blades, what's really nice for though, is stacking the Stealth Break Venom. While in stealth, unblocked attacks apply poison, dealing 25 damage every 0.5 seconds for 3 seconds. So you can actually use these daggers to your advantage here. You can go ahead and say, hey, I'm going to go into stealth. I'm going to use Quick Blades. I'm going to shoot 6 daggers in front, and I can poison multiple targets. So this helps out, again, in a team fight scenario. I don't find it as useful in solo play. So if I'm going with a solo build, I'm going to go Petrifying Poison and Vanish. If I'm going with a team build, I'm probably going to go Swift Concealment and Petrifying Poison. And if I'm going with a team build, focusing on doing a lot more support damage or that strength capability, then I'm going to go here with Quick Blades and Swift Concealment. So those are your active choices for Rogue. Let's talk about our passive, or at least the order for taking them. The Rogue gets access to 5 passive abilities across 3 stat points, which is actually very nice. Most classes have to spread their stat points or their passives across like 4 or maybe even 5 stat points if you like the Death Knight or something. So taking a look at this, the big one is Dexterity, because it of course increases your critical strike damage and your movement speed, giving you tons of mobility that rivals even that of a Panther. Panther just got recently nerfed though, so it might even be faster. But the big one that we're going to be using, especially for solo play, is Evaporate. And it's very easy to get to 62 Dexterity. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. We're going to talk about that in a gear section. So with Evaporate, we enter stealth after killing an enemy, human or otherwise. So this is great in a team fight scenario, right? I go ahead and kill one person. We can move on to the next one in stealth, giving us that big crit hit. But the nice thing about this in a solo play, or even when you're playing in team play and just trying to clear the creep, what's nice about this is you can just simply chain your crit strikes to the next thing down the line. Right? You're just critting all over the place. You go, you kill one goblin, you're back into stealth, you kill the next one. You don't have to worry about constantly being on the recycle for Vanish or Swift Concealment. It is a great capability, and it's what really allows the Rogue to have a ton of playability, a lot of really good punching power, because they can stay in stealth, which is their biggest benefit almost perpetually if they're keeping their monsters killed in time. Now, the next part of this is Featherfoot. Entering stealth increases movement speed by 200, decaying over 5 seconds. So basically, it's just going to drop, right? Every second after those initial 5. It's great. The better part of just being the better part of turning this passive on is just the benefit of being at 93 Dexterity, getting that massive bonus to your movement speed, and getting a substantial increase to your critical strike damage. So obviously just being there is great. But I would say that your order here is getting your Dexterity to 62 as fast as possible. Your stamina over here is nice, but what I really like is Stealth Break Venom, just to get some perpetual damage on board, and it's very easy to get access to. So our order is 62 Dexterity and then 29 Strength. This gives us, while in stealth, unblocked attacks apply poison, dealing 25 damage every 0.5 seconds for 3 seconds. So essentially you're doing 150 damage across 3 seconds if you want to think of it as a total dot like that. And it's very easy to get access to this one. Like, it's only 13 more strength, so it's easier to unlock than jumping all the way over here to 36 stamina. I like Toxic Cloud a lot, but it's at the very bottom of my priority list because Petrifying Poison, when you activate it, worth noting, if I swap this to Quick Blades, this still works here. Right? When Quick Blades activates Enter Stealth, it's the same thing. It just is just showing you whatever your Q ability is, Enter Stealth. This is great. It's nice. You get max health, physical resistance, elemental resistance, but your point in the entire match is not tankability. It's raw fighting potential. Your tank ability or your damage mitigation is pure damage output. You kill things faster so you don't have to take the damage of them. Yes, of course, having more stamina is always a nice boon, but I'm just not going to focus on 36 stamina. It's a heavy investment to get this turned on at the very beginning. Once you're at level 20, you will have more native stamina, so this will be a little bit easier to get. But again, just to really quickly go over this, 62 dexterity is our first priority, followed by 29 strength. And then I would finish off our dexterity and come back to strength and then finish off stamina. Realistically, you're not going to be able to do that unless you're jumping into purple items, but I'm giving you my personal preference. Even for solo and team fights, I think it doesn't really matter for this class in specific. It's different for other ones. That's how I would place my priority when it comes to passives. 62 dex, 29 strength, then 93 dex, then 60 strength. Now, we've talked about these active skills and these passive skills. How do we turn them on? At the beginning of the game, you're not going to have a ton of money, but it's very easy to get 62 dexterity online for your character. So we're going to go ahead and press trade at the very top here, and we have purchase. We're going to click item rarity, put that to uncommon, and just press search. So what I want you to keep in mind, with every single piece of gear in this game, there are innate benefits that are added to it outside of the implied benefits of its affix or suffix, whatever it is. So for example here, the sturdy ring of dexterity is always going to give us 4 to 6 dexterity because that's its suffix. But the innate capabilities of this ring is that it will always give us 4 to 5% elemental resistance. Furthermore, let's take a look at the dagger, because this is how we're going to unlock a lot of capabilities here. The steel dagger will always give us, no matter what, dexterity. Same thing here with swords. Swords will always give us dexterity. Looking at crossbows, they always give us dexterity. So this allows you to cater your selection for your items to give you a little bit of breathing room in your builds, right? Hey, I look at this ring right here, and it says it can be 4 to 6 dexterity based off of how it rolls from the marketplace right now. So let's just take a look at the lowest common denominator of 4. So if it's 4 and 4 for 2 rings, that's 8 more dexterity. And if we take a look at a sturdy dexterity necklace, we can see that it can be 8 to 12. So between our rings and our necklace, we can secure 16 dexterity very easily. And then it's a matter of grabbing 2 daggers, which is an additional 8 dexterity. So that puts us at 24 dexterity from just simply getting rings and necklace and daggers. You could even forego getting 2 daggers here and get a crossbow. That's going to give us 8 to 12 for the crossbow slot. So it's basically, rather than buying 2 daggers, you have the crossbow. Even further too, you can buy 2 swords and 2 daggers because they have the same amount of dexterity bonuses. So take a look at these items because it's important to get a sense for how they fill into your characters. Armor pieces are also crucially important, especially when it comes to what they give. The chest piece will always give us critical strike damage. The boots will always give us movement speed. The gloves will always give us damage, if I can find them. Okay, sometimes you have to refresh this. The gloves, wherever the hell they are, they're probably on here, and someone's going to make a comment like, aha, the gloves will always give us weapon damage. So look to these individual, and also max life. So look to these individual slots to fill out your gear choices. So just to kind of give you a further example, looking at my character, I've bought a set of jewelry and a set of daggers. It set me back, I don't know, like 4,000 gold, which is really easy to get. And I have 66 dexterity. So this leaves me room to move in other directions. But it's worth noting here that dexterity is the easiest to increase on the rogue because we have so many guaranteed ways to do it. The swords, the daggers, the crossbows, the necklace, and the jewelry. If I were to buy the head, chest, legs, gloves, or boots, it will roll a random bonus to a stat. It's not a guaranteed one like it is for a ring of dexterity or a rusted sword, or a sword, right? This would give me 4 to 6 dexterity versus these pants can be whatever the hell that they become. So use this to your advantage. Say, hey, yeah, I want to get to 66 dexterity. So let me just take these off real quick, right? This is what our character was without anything on them, right? 38. Very easy to get this additional 24, right? I've done it with jewelry, but we could have just as easily have done it with both the daggers and then 2 swords. 2 swords probably would have put us just barely at the threshold, so we could leave some wiggle room in our gear for some strength. And this is what I'm going to show you here, is how you can really kind of bounce these things around to make them make sense for what you're doing, right? Okay, so that's 3K. And let's go ahead and grab a necklace of strength, because that has the highest benefit here of 8 to 12 versus the 2 rings, which could be a wider range. This is going to help us out variance-wise. If it says item sold out at the top here, you just go ahead and try and buy it again. And you just keep trying to buy it again. Did it go through? Did it go through? No. Oh, there we go. Oh, we only got one of our swords too. So we'll go ahead and get one more sword. There we go. So let's now go back into our character, and we've put both the swords on. Again, this could be a crossbow, which, to be totally honest with you, a crossbow is a better bet, because if you're soloing or even doing team play, you're not going to switch from daggers to a sword. You're just better off with a crossbow in your offhand to do lots of damage from range. I just was kind of trying to make a point, so I'll do that just because it's more effective, right? There. And we got a pretty good roll on that, a +10. So we're at 52 dex with both the daggers and that crossbow. So we could put maybe this on. Okay, that's still short. Let's do both of these rings. Okay, we hit the dexterity threshold. I'll put this necklace on. So we're 1 point away strength-wise. So this shows you how you can really jump into the innate bonuses of these individual gear pieces to get you as close as you can to the breakpoints for your passives. So if we can try and jump into some other items here. We can go into a chest piece, or chest piece, a head piece, anything like that to try to get us some strength. But this is just a way for me to show you that focus on one, get that bonus, then pivot to the other, and try to get the bonuses from as many innate things as you can. Don't focus on your jewelry slots first. Focus on the things you know are going to guaranteed give you the stat point, because then you waste it, right? If I did this, okay, well, that's 72 dexterity. Sure, I'm closer to 93, but I'm closer here 16 to 29 than I am from 72 to 93 as far as like the accessibility to that gear. It's easier for me to just swap in a strength necklace, which we did, to get us much closer to this than it's going to be to tool and buy a bunch of different gear pieces to try to get a total cumulative 93 dexterity bonus. So use those innates on your items to get you up. And this isn't just applicable to rogue, it's applicable to any character you're trying to play and whichever passive you're trying to hit. Try to hit those passives from your weapons and your jewelry first. Weapons being paramount because it's so easy to break into them. Like, for example, you get stamina here from your shields. I think the mace gives you stamina too if you're playing like a priest, stuff like that. So that's how we're going to kind of set up the gear situation for our rogue. Now let's talk about what that gameplay style is like. Before we even jump in, let's just make sure we have the proper setup here. I like to make sure that I have 1 stack of health potions and 1 stack of bandages. It's just going to help me out in between fights or just trying to get a little bit of health. Other good things are Thunderclasp Flask to help with kind of breaking out of engagements. Same thing with the Smoke Screen Flask. I don't like to really bring a bunch of flasks in unless I'm playing with friends. That way I know I'm going to be able to use them pretty effectively, but I wouldn't worry too much about flask options. Just really make sure you have healing on your character before you jump in. And if you don't have any of your actual healing on your character, make sure you have enough Cloudy Life Essence, because you can go over here to the Alchemist, click this button, and just go ahead and click on this and build the bandages or build your healing or mana potions. Just remember that once you do it, let's just press craft here. You then press this button for acquire to actually put it into your backpack. So once we've done that, we're going to go ahead and jump in. Loading into the game, we're going to do this live. I don't know how it's going to go. Hopefully I don't die a million times. So we got this guy right up close and personal. If we're playing solo, just to kind of go through this stuff. If you've played Rogue before, just skip ahead. But I feel like it's necessary to kind of talk about this stuff because in the, the constraints of a guide. So let's go ahead and just vanish. Let the thing miss, and just press left click. Can't see us. We'll come to the back of it, and we'll miss our backstab. Backstab it, and do it again. Just keep spamming that backstab. It's pretty quick. So because we have 62 stealth, we're right back into 62 dexterity. We're right back into stealth, right? So we can just kind of move around the field, take stock of what's going on, and try to chain as much of this together as possible. Opening up a door, we're still in stealth, so we're good to go. Now, I wouldn't really touch most of the loot on most of these guys because it's probably just going to be white loot. If it's green, though, maybe pop in. If you're looking to get a little bit more, maybe pop in, loot or whatever it is. So we see there's a shaman over here. We're going to go ahead and not switch to our torch. Oh, cool. Didn't hear that, but we're fine. Just vanish. They go away, and we'll backstab the shaman and do it again. And shaman's dead. But he didn't see us, or he saw us, but we immediately went right back into stealth. So you can see how you chain this together. It's a lot easier to play this character once you get that 62 dexterity and once you see how quick and easy it is to get that dexterity. So we're a little low. We'll go ahead, we'll bandage up, and just keep stock of this, right? Know what you can get away with engagement-wise. I got hit by those skeletons, and I knew if I got over here and backstabbed this thing twice, I was going to be safe enough to go right back into stealth and finish off anything else in this area. Just have some presence of mind on that and take it slow. I'm going a little quick here because this is a video, and I want to create action in it. I don't want to have a bunch of downtime. And you can see that you just kind of get a feel for what's in the rooms, right? You know there's going to be a rat over here. If you know the game, there's another rat like right over here. So let's vanish. And I'm going to show you what I would do if I didn't have 62 dexterity in this fight right here. Let's go up. We're going to do this and do it again. And there we go. He's dead. So I'm vanished. I know that. But if I wasn't, I would just go right into the dagger, stab it. It gets petrified, and then just keep doing this. And hopefully don't put yourself in a pillar like I did. And if it turns around, whatever, you just keep left clicking and you'll kill it quick enough. So this allows you as a solo player to get some breathing room, loot things, have a sense of what's going on. I can't tell if someone's sneaking up on me right now because I cannot hear the game very well, but that's going to be okay. I'm going to film me getting killed. And that's fine too. Keep in mind, I think you watch a lot of these videos of people playing these games and it's like, this is how you do it. You just do like this, and they just do a flawless run. It's easy to show you a flawless run live or in a video because I've edited it or I've changed the way it is or I only showed you the flawless run. So if you die, that's not a big deal. Just let yourself die, learn the game. That's how you learn from these games, is simply dying and learning more and more from each death. And just be on the move, keep moving, keep sidestepping. That's a big part of this character. It's a movement-based character. Make sure you're moving around, left, right, back, center. Same thing when it comes to fighting against players. So I know a player spawns up here. And they went probably, well, not straight, but maybe left. And our vanish is up. We'll go ahead and this. Go right back in. So they might have gone down here. A lot of people will run through a lot of spawns. I'm not real big on that. It's spooky scary for me. It's just another way for me to stay in stealth because I was running out of stealth right there. And we'll just kind of keep coming around. And we'll just, whatever. Chain it into another stealth here. Just another chance to stay hidden. We're just hunting for people right now, right? So I haven't talked about the charge attack on the daggers, but it's a small like lunge, and we'll use that to close the distance on things. Interesting that that stealth actually broke my stealth, or that activation actually broke my stealth. Go ahead and go back in. So this doesn't give you the benefit of your backstab. So if you hold down this, hold down left click and go to do that big lunge, you don't get a backstab even if you're behind them. So just keep that in mind. But it's a great way to try to like clear out any of these little flying shits I hate so much in this game. Oh my god, I'm beset on all sides. Where are the Belmonts? Puts us right back into stealth though, so we can do this. Miss the backstab is what I meant to say. Miss the backstab. So she's bleeding right now, which is something I forgot to mention, that I actually have enough strength to benefit from the bleeding attribute. Or I'm sorry, poison, not bleeding. Bats are the worst thing in the game. They're the worst thing in the game. No matter what anyone tells you, this entire video could be summed up with just run away from bats. And if you need to, go back in another room, close a door, get yourself some breathing room. Things are not going to chase you from room to room in this game. Oh, okay. So we get in the middle of an engagement and I died. So that's an example. Like, yeah, sometimes you kind of get ahead of yourself. This guy used the crossbow to a great advantage. He was using the strength capability. He hit me with the crossbow. I was already low in health. It finished me off. Goes ahead, loots me, moves on. That's an example of you don't necessarily need to loot every little thing. I think I got kind of carried away in the PvE portion of the game. But there is a lot to be said about this game in simply moving through a lot of it and not actually trying to jump in and kill every little thing, trying to move around, just try to find people. Especially as the rogue, you have the benefit of being able to hunt. So hunt, just simply go vanish. If you see yourself running out of the vanish, quickly use the backstab capability twice, kill something, go back into stealth and keep moving. And of course, I'm not wearing a headset right now, so it's harder for me to hear the game. So I maybe would have been able to hear him had I not been just aimlessly talking endlessly like an idiot. But still, that's another big portion of this game. You need to really have your ears open, keep your head on a pivot, because once you really excite someone, if you beat them to the punch, especially as a rogue, obviously with your backstab capabilities, more often than not, you will win a 1v1. If you can get the first couple hits off and they're taking time to kind of calibrate what's going on, like I had to do right there, like, oh man, I got hit, shit. Okay, let's see where it came from. Okay, he's down there. Let's try to pop into stealth. Uh-oh, we didn't have enough time. We're dead. So that's an example of if you get the drop on someone more often than not, you're going to win. So hopefully this helps you out. It wasn't flawless rogue play. I told you it wasn't going to be, but I'm trying to break the game down to help you understand the inner workings of the game so that it makes it easier for you to get better. I think it's very often that you play a game like this and you'll hit a brick wall of progression and you just get frustrated and you end up dropping the game, or you blame the class, you blame the item selection, you blame the mechanics, whatever it is. When very often it's just really about taking things a little bit slower, understanding the way that your character can benefit from using the mechanics to their advantage and moving through each and every piece of it. And also too, being just a higher level or having access to more money or having access to better heirloom gear, anything like that, it's going to make the playing field very uneven. So expect to struggle in the beginning, expect to really kind of get a bearing for the attack pattern of the character, and that's true of every class, before you really start to fall into it, right? You're like, it's going to take you a couple levels, a couple failed missions, a couple successful missions. You might get really good at solo and then shit the bed at team fights. You might get really good at team fights and then start shitting the bed at solo. So give yourself a little bit of grace, jump into a bunch of different stuff and try it out. And also, if you just don't want to jump into rogue and keep losing and losing and losing, the nice thing is the rogue is one of these starting options for the Mithril Order. It's worth noting too that the passives for the rogue on Mithril Order are not the same. It's movement speed and life. So you're going to have different active skills in both stealth and quick blades, but this will at least give you an idea of how the playstyle is without sacrificing anything. If you're low on gold, you're low on crafting materials, simply jump into the Mithril Order because you can do it as a rogue, get a good sense for the way the game progresses as this character, and get yourself tons of gold and crafting materials, assuming you successfully extract. So hopefully this video helped you out. Hopefully this gave you a better idea on how to approach the character. And if you have any notes on the rogue and it's one of your favorite characters, go ahead and let me know in the comment section below. I personally play the priest and the death knight the most, but I play the rogue right below that because the rogue is so damn fun. I find if my friends aren't online, I can just have a lot of fun playing through solo games as rogue and get a lot out of it. If I play solo on like my death knight, I get super pissed off. So again, if you have any tips to help anyone out with the rogue, let it be known in the comment section below. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching here today. Have a good one and take care.